गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सेदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती हीनामविप्लवतो गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय हो मूषिकरा जय हो मूषिकरा हे शिवनन्दन पार्वती तनया सिद्धि विनायक पार्वती तनया सिद्धि विनायक शरणं शरणं विघ्नहरणं शरणं शरणं जय हो शिवरा शिवनंदना पार्वती तनया सिद्धि विनायक शरणं शरणं विघ्नहरणं शिवं जय हो मूषिका जगन्नाथ स्वामी जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन
Sri Jagannatha Satya Sainatha
पूरी जगन्नाथ
Sri Jagannatha Satya Sainatha Jagannath Swami Nayana Satbhuja Padmanabha Shiva Govinda Satbhuja Padmanabha Shiva Govinda Balabhadra Vasudeva Madhava Mukunda Balabhadra Vasudeva Madhava Mukunda Shirdi Puri Pati Puri Shirdi Puri Pati Puri Guru Puri
Om Shri Sai Ram. My reverential pranams at the divine lotus feet of our dearest Swami. Respected elders, brothers, and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. Today, we have again connected together with the blessings of our dearest Swami, and I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our speaker of the day, Mr. Vijay Gopal. Brother Vijay Gopal, who is immensely blessed by Swami, comes from the family of Sai devotees, where his both parents were blessed with several seva activities of the organization in different capacities, such as Bal Vikas Guru, Samiti Convener, District Bal Vikas in charge, and District Veda Coordinator. Brother Vijay had Swami's darshan and sparshan for the first time in 1994 after joining the Bal Vikas as a child in his mother's Bal Vikas Center. Later, he was blessed by Swami with several Seva opportunities to serve him as a part of summer camps and as an active Sevadal member. He has been part of Hyderabad Youth Group since 2006 and blessed with opportunities to be part of musical group offerings two times in the Divine Presence of Swami at Sai Kulwant Hall. Currently, Brother Vijay is working as senior manager with a leading consulting firm based out in Dallas, Texas, in United States of America. Also, he has been conducting Rudram sessions at science centers in the United States. Now, without taking your much time and with these few words, I would like to invite our speaker and my elder brother, Mr. Vijay Gopal, to please address us. Sairam, sir.
Hi Ram. Brother, can you hear me?
Yes, brother.
Okay. Sorry, I had joined from a different phone, but because of connectivity issues, and I switched to another one. So, uh, pardon me for if you hear any kind of disturbance.
Brother, you are clearly loud and visible. Before you continue, pardon me for interrupting. I would request all the devotees kindly to switch off their cameras so that we would be having the streamline connectivity so that we can hear our esteemed speaker. Sarum, brother, over to you.
Hi Ram. Um, if we start with so regarding, um, let's start with a prayer and with the divine blessings of our beloved Lord Swami. Um, let's make sure we are making the best use of this particular time that we've got. So, without much ado, Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. My prayers to beloved Mother Sai for giving this opportunity and being that guiding light. May He give us all the strength, all the energy, all the vitality that is required for all of us to progress in this spiritual path of transformation. Thank you, Swami. Thank you very much. My gratitude also to my parents who brought myself and my brother into Swami's fold, as well as gratitude to Krishna Bhaiya, Varun, and the IT team here who took the pains to organize this particular event. And of course, gratitude to each and every member of this 44-member team who could take out time today to attend this particular session. So thank you very much. My Hindi is not great. मैं फिर भी कोशिश करूँगा कि हिंदी में ही बात करूँ, बट यदि कुछ वर्ड्स इंग्लिश के उसमें मिक्स हो जाते हैं तो प्लीज़ क्षमा कीजिएगा. just set the ground, right? Krishna Bhaiya, ने जब my brother is also in Chandigarh, he's a doctor. So मेरे भैया से जब बात हुआ था, I was in Puttaparthi at that time, and when my brother told me कि कृष्णा भैया ने कहा है कि can I give you can I talk on this subject of Vedam and Rudram. It was more or less kind of a command from Swami, and since I was in Puttaparthi and the prayers were, hey, Swami, please do whatever is needed for my own transformation. So वो situation में कृष्णा भैया ने approach किया था, and based on all of that, मेरा विश्वास है कि आज जो सेशन हो रहा है वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्वामी की प्रेरणा से, स्वामी के इनिशिएटिव से हो रहा है. जो भी थॉट्स आज मेरे थ्रू निकलेंगे, प्रार्थना है वो भी स्वामी के ही होंगे. And definitely before anyone else, it is primarily my own transformation and the response to the prayers that made this session happen. So thank you very very much, Swami, for that. जैसे कि वरुण भैया ने इंट्रोडक्शन में कहा था, I am not an expert. I teach Veda. रुद्रम 2-3 साई सेंटर्स हैं यूएस में जिन्हें रिमोट रुद्रम पढ़ाने का अवसर मिला है, बट मैं वेदास में एक्सपर्ट नहीं हूँ. From that perspective also, it is important that this opportunity is utilized by me to make the most of it, to learn from what Swami wants me to learn as part of listening to his voice through the speaker. So without much ado, कृष्णा भैया से जब डिस्कशन हुआ था, उन्होंने कहा था कि दो चीज़ों के बारे में हम लोग डिस्कस कर सकते हैं आज के कॉल में. एक तो है वेदास क्या है, और दूसरा रुद्रम. हमारे काफ़ी भाई बहन यहाँ पर ज्वाइन हुए हैं जिन्होंने वेदास में अध्ययन किया होगा और जिन्होंने वेदा के बारे में काफ़ी डीप एनालिसिस किया होगा. तो there might be things that is known to them, but there are others who might have not or might be new to Vedas. So उनके लिए थोड़ा सा वेदा के बारे में हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे. उसके बाद we will shift gears and talk a little bit about Rudram. So Vedas, हम सारे भाई बहन स्वामी से जुड़े हुए हैं, कई सालों से जुड़े होंगे. So from that perspective, वेदा के बारे में हमने काफ़ी सुना होगा स्वामी के थ्रू, या फिर डिफरेंट समर्पण टॉक्स जहाँ पे वेदों के बारे में कहा गया है. बट ये वेद है क्या? स्वामी ने 1940s में ही जो अवतार डिक्लेरेशन हुआ था, स्वामी ने कहा था कि मेरे अवतार के 4 पहलू हैं. एक वेद पोषणा, दूसरा विद्वत पोषणा, तीसरा भक्त रक्षणा, चौथा है धर्म संस्थापना. ये 4 पहलू स्वामी ने, if I have to quote, these are 4 different pillars that Swami had defined back in 1940 itself. और from that perspective, I think we all know हर चीज जो अवतार ने किया है लाइफ के दौरान, हर शब्द जो अवतार ने कहा है is pregnant with lot of meaning in it, right? So from that perspective, it is very important that we take to heart each and every aspect of what he has said, right? Swami ने कहा था वेद पोषणा. वेद पोषणा क्यों? वेद है क्या? It is basically, if you imagine the entire cosmos and the knowledge contained in the entire cosmos being represented somewhere, that is Vedas, right? The question is, now do we have access to all of those repositories of knowledge? हमें उन चीज का एक्सेस नहीं होगा बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ जैसे जैसे युगों का एक सतयुग से जैसे because सत्ययुग then त्रेता युग and then द्वापर युग and then कल युग, lot of these were lost, right? Some were lost by negligence or neglect, and some of them were lost because people misrepresented or misused it, and some of them were lost because they were not relevant. उस युग के related वेदास नहीं थे, इसलिए उनका क्षय हो गया. बट ये वेद है क्या, राइट? ये वेद कहाँ से आए हैं? वेदों को अनादि कहा जाता है, राइट? अनादि और अपौरुषीय. अपौरुषीय मीन्स किसी व्यक्ति ने वेदों की रचना नहीं की, राइट? देयर वाज नोबडी एल्स हु रोट वेदास. देयर वाज नोबडी, देयर इज नो टाइम दैट कैन बी पुट ऑन वेदास की ये टाइम से ये टाइम तक वेदों का क्रिएशन हुआ था, राइट? वेदास, स्वामी ने कहा है कि वेदास आर ब्रेथ ऑफ गॉड. इट इज बेसिकली द वॉइस of God, and through meditation, through lot of inquiries for several hundreds of years, many rishis could hear these particular vibrations and the sounds that they could hear during their deep state of meditation, and definitely with a lot of purity in their hearts, with no selfishness, totally selfless. उन्होंने इस वेद, इस साउंड को का अध्ययन किया, उस साउंड को अपने दूसरे लोगों को, शिष्यों को सिखाया, और इस तरह से उस वेदों के बारे में जानकारी प्रोपेगेट हुई, राइट? एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. आज सुबह एक चर्चा हो रही थी मेरी अपने पिताजी और माताजी के साथ. इसी टॉपिक के ऊपर हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि what is it, right? Just like Ved एक ocean है, right? It's an ocean of, but just like small when rain falls, small tributaries, they gather the water from these tributaries gets into rivers. The water from several rivers gets into the ocean, right? It is just like that. Same analogy यदि हम वेदों के रेफरेंस में डालें, हजारों ऋषिज थे जिन्हें ये साउंड्स, जिन्होंने भी मेडिटेशन किया, उनको ये साउंड का ज्ञान हुआ, और इस ज्ञान को उन्होंने, these are like small tributaries, they got culminated into specific sections called rivers, and these rivers got culminated into that massive ocean called Vedas, right? So let's take a very small, very simple analogy here, but that is exactly what Vedas. So Vedas वो चीज है जो सारे ब्रह्मांड का जिसमें नॉलेज है, जिसका ज्ञान सम्मिलित है, वह वेद है. स्वामी ने हमें वेदों के बारे में स्वामी का हमेशा स्ट्रेस रहा है. 1965 से ही स्वामी ने वेद पुरुष सप्ताह यज्ञ शुरू किया था दशहरा के दिनों में, और वो अभी भी कंटिन्यू हो रहा है. The importance that Swami gave to these Vedas has been immense through different Sri Rudram Mahayagyams, 4 Sri Rudram Mahayagyam Swami के physical presence में हुआ था. Primarily because from 1940 to 1965, through establishment of the Ved Pathshala and everything else, back in 2003 when Swami said कि भैया सब लोगों ने वेदों का पठन करना चाहिए कुलवंत हॉल में दर्शन के दौरान, और फिर 2007 में जो स्वामी ने कहा था कि हर एक विश्व का हर एक फैमिली और हर एक इंसान वेद सीख सकता है और वेदों का पठन और अध्ययन कर सकता है. उस फ्रॉम दैट स्टेप बाय स्टेप 1940 से स्वामी ने पूरे वर्ल्ड को प्रिपेयर किया था. 2007 को उन्होंने कहा कि यस, दिस इज राइट टाइम, let it be practiced and propagated in every family, right? That's how I believe it came about. Again, you're going back to each and every word from the avatar, each and every action from Swami is pregnant with a lot of meaning, and is forward looking, and as per the master plan from the Divine Master. But why are we discussing about these Vedas, right? Vedas emphasize the existence of God, right? हमें भगवान के बारे में उस सुप्रीम आइडेंटिटी के बारे में जानकारी देते हैं. ये वी आर नॉट सेइंग इट इज this god or that god or the 32,000 32 crore gods that were identified as part of uh, the Vedanas, but essentially that one entity called the Supreme God through which everything has emanated. So it is derived from the word with, which is knowledge, and it gives the knowledge about the existence of the supreme identity or the supreme God. Uh, each word, कस्तूरी जी ने अपने प्रोलॉग में कहा है लीला कैवल्य वाहिनी में कि हर एक शब्द जो वेद का हर एक शब्द एक मंत्र है, and because it is the breath of God, each and every syllable, each and every word is a mantra in itself. So जब हम कहते हैं नमः शिवाय अपने आप में ही एक मंत्र है जो उस सुप्रीम सोर्स और सुप्रीम आइडेंटिटी के बारे में सुप्रीम आइडेंटिटी को दर्शाता है, जो मंगलकारी है, जो लयकारी है. हम उसके बारे में थोड़ा डिस्कस करेंगे when we start talking about Rudram. But each and every word is pregnant with meaning. When we say Mrityunjaya, there is a very beautiful meaning that Swami has shared about the word Mrityunjaya, right? And so on and so forth about each and every aspect. We'll talk about that, but each and every word is a mantra by itself. And what is a mantra? It's something that takes us through this ocean of samsara, right? Mananat trayate iti mantraha. That is what Swami ने कई बार कहा बताया है हमें. जो अपने मन के विकारों को कंट्रोल करके इस संसार के रूपी सागर को पार करने में मदद करेगा, वह मंत्र है, राइट? एंड आज हम वेदों के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, रुद्र प्रश्न के बारे में बात करेंगे. उसका इंटेंट वही रहेगा कि इन मंत्रों का सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है, राइट? रुद्रा has so many namahas and as in namaka and shamaka. We may not be able to go through each and every syllable or each and every word, Sanskrit word. But we'll talk about a few that we can relate to and resonate to. हमने कई बार सुना है, कई बार हम पठन भी कर चुके हैं, but it is a good time to try and understand some of those, ताकि हम में वो इंटरेस्ट जागृत हो और हम आगे का अध्ययन भी कर सकें इन मंत्रों के बारे में. Now back to Vedas, right? वेदों के बारे में ये भी कहा गया है कि ये अनादि है, अपौरुषीय है. फिर और हमने ये भी सुना है कि वेदों के 4 विभाग हैं, right? We are talking about ऋग्वेदा, यजुर्वेदा, सामवेदा एंड अथर्वण वेदा. वेदव्यास जी ने, आपने कई बार सुना होगा ये स्टोरी. वेदव्यास जी जो ऋषि पराशर के पुत्र थे, उन्होंने इन वेदों का अध्ययन किया और उन्होंने देखा कि इन वेदों का नॉलेज काफ़ी segregated है, काफ़ी बटा हुआ है. So what he did is he basically consolidated, brought all of those together and said, based on the sounds and based on the function of each and every sound, he classified it as Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvana Veda, right? We talked from that. So Atharvana Veda, उस जो मंत्र और तंत्र के बारे में, जो अर्थशास्त्र है, उन different sciences के बारे में is a knowledge repository for that, right? The science of astras and shastras and rockets and aeroplanes, all of that was contained in Atharvana Veda, which is the grouping of that. Samaveda संगीत और लय से रिलेटेड है. सामवेदा का जो चैंटिंग्स होता है वो भी संगीतकार होता है, संगीतकारी होता है. यजुर्वेदा जो भी रिचुअल्स होते हैं यज्ञ से रिलेटेड, उन्हें यजुर्वेदा में क्लासिफाई किया गया था. और ऋग्वेद जो कि सबसे पुराना है, the most ancient in its origin is Rigveda, which is basically the consolidation of all the mantras that talk about the benefit of humanity, the benefit and the meanings of those mantras are actually enablers for us to understand this supreme reality and reach our origins, right? And again, these are not done by a person. It is the voice of God, the breath of God that was revealed. हमने just take a step back, right? हमने काफी बार समर्पण टॉक्स में सुना होगा या फिर हमारे साई ब्रदर्स जिन्होंने कुछ कॉम्पोजिशंस बनाए हैं उनके थ्रू सुना होगा कि they never say that I wrote this composition. It is always said that Swami gave me this composition. And मुझे हमेशा ही लगता था कि ये कैसे हो सकता है, right? But when you think more about it, when you hear these brothers about their experiences, it is basically something that is when they are in a thoughtless state, when they are immersed in the thoughts of God, that is when it comes, right? The songs and the words of bhajans, the compositions come to them. So from that same perspective, it's not uncommon. हमें सैकड़ों साल पुराने वेदों के बारे में ही नहीं सोचना चाहिए that ये ऋषिस को रिवील किया गया था. आज के ज़माने में भी ऐसे काफ़ी लोग हैं जिन्होंने इस वॉइसेस को सुना और and they are able to reveal it or share it in a manner that is acceptable and palatable for the greater benefit of our humanity. So there are different classifications of Vedas. So each of those four were classified into, let's say, Brahmanas and Aranyakas and Upanishads. So Brahmanas are more like the ritualistic related mantras, उनको classify किया गया था. Aranyakas जो है वो forest से related, जैसे Brahmanas आप rituals करते हो. The next stage is Aranyakas, which is basically how do you imbibe those, right? Swami कहता है hands in the society, head in the forest. Now, at a certain point, जब वेदों का अध्ययन कर रहे हैं, इस दौरान आपने अध्ययन किया कई सालों तक, आपने क्यूरियोसिटी आता है कि अच्छा इन चीज़ों का अध्ययन कर रहे हैं, इसका मतलब क्या है? How is it that this is going to help? And maybe this particular session that we are having today is something in that direction also for all of us to understand few aspects of where this came from, right? What does it mean to me? That is what Aranyakas means. So imbibing the inner meanings of that in a forest kind of setup, let's say Vanaprastha ashram and Sannyas ashram में जब आप जब हमारे पूर्वज फॉरेस्ट में जाके अध्ययन करते थे, मनन करते थे, उन सभी मंत्रों को, उन सभी मीनिंग्स को आरण्यकास में क्लासिफाई किया गया है. और उपनिषद्स जो जिनको कहा जाता है कि ये वेदांत हैं, सारे वेदों का सार है, right? It's a summary of different Vedas, right? There are several kind of Upanishads that we have. Sri Rudram is also one of the Upanishads that we will talk about. But Upanishads are primarily laid down to make sure that the four Purusharthas, right? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, ये चार पुरुषार्थों की प्राप्ति के लिए for the right practice of these Purusharthas, these Upanishads lay down the ground rules and the learnings that we all can follow. So these are the three different classifications that each of those four sections of Vedas are divided into, right? Now, before we jump on to Rudram, let's quickly talk about the impact of Vedas, right? हमने ये सुना है कि काफी बार हम आपने यदि रुद्र प्रश्न का पुस्तक पढ़ा होगा या रुद्रम वेद पुष्पांजलि पुस्तक में पहले पेज में लिखा होता है कि किस तरह से वेद पढ़ा जाए, किस तरह से ना पढ़ा जाए. One of the things that is called out there is it should be with the proper intonations, right? Otherwise it might have negative effects. Absolutely, very very true. Swami has said several times. एक एग्जाम्पल स्वामी काफी बार कहते हैं कि जब आप गायत्री मंत्र का उच्चारण करते हैं, कहते हैं ओम भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. राइट, जब आप गायत्री मंत्र का उच्चारण करते हैं, हमने कई बार ये भी सुना है संगीत के माध्यम से, संगीत के रूप में, बट यदि लास्ट के दो सिलेबल्स को जोड़ दिया जाए, यदि न धियो यो न एंड देन प्रचोदयात् के बीच में यदि आप गैप भूल जाएं, तो उसका मीनिंग उल्टा हो जाता है. न प्रचोदयात is actually an opposite meaning, that don't give me that intellect, right? You're asking for that intellect. आप उस परमात्मा से जो आपके जो सारे ब्रह्मांड सारी सृष्टि को लाइट प्रदान करता है सूर्य के भांति, उस परमात्मा से आप ये मांग रहे हैं कि वो नॉलेज वो इंटेलेक्ट आपको भी दिया जाए, right? They should grant you that intellect. And when you say na prachodayat, you're actually saying opposite of that, which you're saying don't give me. So intonations, pauses, syllables is extremely important in Vedas, and that is where the impact of these Vedas are also there, right? So let's talk about the three levels of impact. एक तो है sound के level पे impact. Vedas, there are 9 different names for Vedas. One of those is Shruti. Shruti is because they are heard, right? It is heard. Because Vedas were never written till very recently. They were always communicated through sounds and passed on from generation to generation, guru to pupils, father to son, through sounds only, right? So sound is an extremely important aspect of Vedas, and हम यदि निजी जीवन में भी देखें, साउंड का काफी इम्पोर्टेंस होता है. आप यदि रोड पे ड्राइव कर रहे हो, बाइक पे हो या कार पे हो, इफ यू आर आई टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ बाइकर्स, क्योंकि बाहर का साउंड काफी ज्यादा होता है. यदि आप हैवी ट्रैफिक वाले रोड से जा रहे हो, by the time you have driven 1 hour listening to all that noise, what will be your mindset, right? आपने 1 घंटे तक उस साउंड को सुना जो आपको काफी डिस्टर्बिंग लगता है, उसके बाद आपकी मनस्थिति कैसी होती है? Think over it. Reverse it with one other aspect. आप कार में हैं, आपके कार में ब्यूटीफुल म्यूजिक चल रहा है या भजन चल रहा है, you are singing to that tune, humming to the tune, and you are going to your office. By the time you reach, what will be your mindset? Sound plays an extremely important role in each and every aspect of our life. Sound derives, there are hormones that are released from the brain based on the sound that you are hearing, right? It can be positive, it can be negative, and that causes your thoughts, positive or negative again, that causes action which impact you as well as everyone else around you. So impact at the level of sound. हर एक मंत्रा एक साउंड वाइब्रेशन प्रोड्यूस करता है, एक रेजोनेंस पैटर्न प्रोड्यूस करता है, जिसके करेक्ट प्रोनाउंसिएशन या उच्चारण से एक पॉजिटिव वाइब जनरेट होता है. यदि आपने एक स्थिर पानी या लेक, एक तालाब को देखा होगा, उसमें if you put a small stone in that, there will be ripples that get created, right? A positive thought that is put in this still lake of your mind will create ripples of positivity, not just for yourself, but for everyone else. Similarly, a negative thought, knowingly or unknowingly, will create a negative ripple effect. So it is extremely important that when these mantras are chanted or learned, they are learned with the right sound. Okay, but that's at a physical level, right? In fact, at the second level is at the meaning. What is the meaning of these mantras? हर एक मंत्र एक मीनिंग प्रोवाइड करता है. यदि हम उस मीनिंग को भी समझ सकें, we will be able to do much better justice to the time that we are spending to chant these mantras, get the maximum benefit out of it. When we think about, जब हम सोचते हैं, जैसे आप मंत्र का उच्चारण कर रहे हैं, यदि उस मंत्र का उच्चारण करते समय आप उसके मीनिंग के बारे में भी सोचोगे, हम जब उस मीनिंग के बारे में सोचते हैं तो उसका इफेक्ट डबल हो जाता है, दुगना पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट आता है. Because every mantra is liberating, right? हम सब 10 साल 20 साल 50 साल से स्वामी के फोल्ड में हैं, या फिर स्पिरिचुअलिटी में, राइट। हम बचपन से माता पिता की के गाइडेंस से, उनकी कृपा से हमें बचपन से स्पिरिचुअलिटी और भगवान और सुप्रीम रियलिटी के बारे में बताया जाता है। वी आर वेरी लकी फ्रॉम दैट सेंस। बचपन से हम लोग यही कर रहे हैं, राइट। The whole intent is to transform ourselves, to reach that elusive thing which we only heard about. And thank you to Swami again for making us realize it, or making us giving us that additional visibility and that additional knowledge through darshan, sparshan, and sambhashan, and several sambhashans from that standpoint, right? So हमें उस यदि हम उसके वेदों के मीनिंग के बारे में भी जानने की कोशिश करें, it will help in our own transformation, in our own journey through this life, right? The third aspect is the level of feelings. कि हर एक वेद मंत्र जब आप उसका राइट प्रोनाउंसिएशन करोगे, उसमें आपके बॉडी में वाइब्रेशंस जनरेट होगा, which will at times give you goosebumps. I have personally experienced it. There are times when mind is still and the thoughts are contained, and you're chanting Gayatri Mantram or you're chanting Rudram. It creates goosebumps into your body. That's probably the first stage, but it is so beautiful. It is so elevating to kind of have that feeling. So when you chant it with the right pronunciation, right sound, when you chant it with the understanding of the meaning, it gives you the right feelings, right? Gives you the right level of vibrations, and gives you the right level of effect also. So in Vedo ke karan, the impact of these Vedas, one at the level of sound, which is purely at a mental and physical level. Second one, when you understand the meaning of it, the effect is even more profound. And the third one is the feelings or the experience part of it. स्वामी ने भी कहा है कि जब तक आप किसी चीज का experience नहीं करोगे, there is no way you will be able to justify or understand even what is being told about it. और वेदों के बारे में स्वामी ने ये काफी बार कहा है कि there are several people who say, hey, this is not for me, या फिर ये सब करने से क्या फायदा. पर जब तक आप experience नहीं करोगे, and especially in spiritual field, it's all about experience, right? So it is better to get into that water, experience the coldness, the temperature, the feeling of that water before instead of just sitting in the sidelines and say, hey, this water is not for me, or this is dirty water for them. Right? So काफी से हमने वेदों के बारे में डिस्कस किया. Let's quickly shift gears into Rudram, right? Sri Rudram or Rudra Prashna, जिसे कहा जाता है, is one of the core aspects of this the four shakhas of Veda that I just spoke about, right? Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharvana Veda. And Sri Rudram is something that comes in all of these four. But why is Rudram important, right? ये सब तो ठीक है, क्लियर चारों शाखाओं में आ रहा है. स्वामी ने रुद्रम के बारे में काफी बताया है उनके स्वामी के प्रवचन में, और काफी डिवोटीज भी हैं जिन्होंने स्वामी से ये जाना है रुद्रम का इम्पोर्टेंस, राइट. एक ऐसे डिवोटी हैं जिनके बारे में मैं टॉक में सुन रहा था, शेखर बुड्डपल्ली. उन्होंने भी काफी रुद्र महायज्ञ कंडक्ट किए हैं. So in one of his talks, he talks about the guidance that Swami gave him about why Rudram is so important, right? Let's go back to that first analogy about what are Vedas, right? If this Vedas is this vast cosmic knowledge that we have, that is there in the universe, Yajurveda sits at the core of that particular vast body of knowledge, right? Which is at the center of cosmic consciousness. तो यजुर्वेद का कोर जो है वो श्री रुद्रम है. उस रुद्रम का कोर भी रुद्रम का 8वां अनुवाका है, जो जिसमें हम ये चैंट करते हैं, ओम हर 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 ओम नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमस्ताम्राय च अरुणाय च। तो हमने वो मंत्र काफी बार सुना है। तो ये जो 8वां अनुवाका है, ये सेंटर ऑफ रुद्र प्रश्न है, एंड दिस इज द कोर ऑफ रुद्रम, श्री रुद्रम। और इस अनुवाका में भी the mantra that is the most important, which is the center of that, is Namah Shivaya Cha, Shivataraya Cha, right? So the vast body of knowledge which is in the universe, which is represented by Vedas, the core of that knowledge is Yajurveda. The core of that Yajurveda is Sri Rudram, and the core of that Sri Rudram is 8th Anuvaka, and the mantra, the most potent, the most powerful mantra, is represented as Namah Shivaya Cha, Shivataraya Cha, right? Now, why is this core important, right? एक बहुत ही scientific explanation, again, जो स्वामी ने उन्हें बताया था, when you look at a spinning wheel, right? जैसे आप एक घूमता हुआ चक्र देखते हैं, या फिर एक बॉल जो घूम रहा है, उसके बाहरी किनारों पर फोर्स काफी ज्यादा होता है, राइट? यदि एक व्हील घूम रहा है, कार का व्हील, उसके ऊपर यदि एक स्टोन फेंका जाए तो वो तुरंत आपके ऊपर वापस आता है या फिर तुरंत टूट जाता है, क्योंकि उसके ऊपर फोर्स आउटसाइड ऑफ द व्हील, द फोर्स, द सेंट्रीफ्यूगल फोर्स इज एक्सट्रीमली हाई, राइट? There are two types of forces which are governing this spinning of the wheel: centrifugal and centripetal force. जब आप बाहरी किनारों पर देखते हो तो फोर्स काफी ज्यादा होता है, और यही फोर्सेस हैं जो, if you can look at spiritual perspective, these are the forces of Maya which divert us from two different aspects of the whole material world, right? जब हम ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, हमारे ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की, हम ये चाहते हैं कि इस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में रहते हुए भी हम किस तरह से उस सुप्रीम रियलिटी, अपने आप को जान सकें जो हमारा कोर है। फ्रॉम दैट, यदि ये दो कड़ियों को जोड़ा जाए, द फोर्स एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इट, जैसे ही आप सेंटर की तरफ जाते हैं, जैसे वो सर्कल है, एक स्पिनिंग व्हील है, कार का पहिया है जो घूम रहा है, बाहरी ओर बहुत फोर्स ज्यादा होता है, पर यदि आप सेंटर की तरफ आते हैं, सेंटर की ओर फोर्स जीरो होता है, राइट? फॉर एनी स्पिनिंग व्हील, द सेंटर ऑफ दैट व्हील, देयर इज जीरो फोर्स, but that center is the source of all the spinning that is happening, all the forces, all the Maya that we see in this material world is the force aspect of it, but the source of it is at the center of that wheel, right? So Swami ने ये कहा था शेखर गुड्डपल्ली जी को कि रुद्रम और नमः शिवाय शिवतराय च, ये मंत्र जो है, ये सोर्स है उस the whole energy that we see across the globe, right? Potential energy and kinetic energy, उस सब का सोर्स जो है वो सेंटर में है, और उस सेंटर में उस सेंटर को ही श्री रुद्रम और उसके 8वें अनुवाका, और उसमें भी नमः शिवाय च जो मंत्र आता है, उससे रिप्रेजेंट किया गया है, right? That is why it is extremely potent, extremely important. But we have seen, we have heard a lot of technicalities of Rudram, right? Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about why is it important in the first place for us. एक टॉक था साई स्टूडेंट्स का, जहाँ पे कुछ हमारे भाई स्वामी स्टूडेंट जो रह चुके हैं, उन्होंने एक इंसिडेंट शेयर किया था. So once they were sitting with Swami in Prague, and it was post-exam time. So Swami asked one of these boys, "Hey boy, how was your exam? आपका exam कैसा था?" So he said, "Swami, अच्छा हुआ, it was good." Swami said, okay, how many papers did you have? And he said, okay, 7 or 8. Swami said, okay, very good. So a lot of papers. How many questions? Again, he said, Swami, each paper has 10 questions. 5 are optional, 5 are mandatory. And Swami, for I have done good in that in my papers. So Swami said, oh, so many questions must be very difficult, right? So the student was like, Swami, it was very difficult, but with your grace, students have studied a lot and they are able to secure good marks. Swami ne kaha ki, do you know what? So do you know God also sets up an exam? So he said, okay, yeah, Swami. But Swami said, continue that, hey, but he just has one question, and his exam is very simple, right? Uh, so that question is, who are you? That's it. That's the only question he will ask. And God will also tell you the answer to that question, right? He says that uh, the answer is, I am God. The only catch here is, you never know when God will ask that question to you, and the answer that you're giving has to be with full faith, पूरे विश्वास, पूरे conviction के साथ वो answer आपको देना पड़ेगा, right? Now, why are we talking about this particular aspect of this particular incident that Swami has shared? How is it related to the Rudram part, right? Swami has said that the only question or that God would ask you is, who are you? The only answer that is expected to culminate or towards the end of our lives is, I am God. We need to realize this truth in each and every aspect of our being, right? Rudram is a prayer of unity from that perspective. Each and every Anuvaka of Rudram talks about that aspect of unity. When we say, you are fire, you are trees, you are oceans, you are the tributaries, you are the Ratha and Rathapati, all of those aspects, you are a serpent, you are a cow, everything else, everything that we talk about or chant in Rudram is primarily talking about or reminiscing, reinforcing that particular aspect of unity that we have or we need to have or we are striving towards, right? That aspect is extremely important, and Rudram, the Namaka Chamaka mantras are actually enabling those specific aspects, enabling us to realize and understand those specific aspects, right? Another thing is, हमारे काफी भाई बहन होंगे इस ग्रुप में जिन्होंने जो टीचर्स रहे होंगे या फिर अपने कार्य क्षेत्र में उन्होंने काफी बच्चों को पढ़ाया होगा, right? Now, one thing is, if you are going to an exam and you know that this particular book is the reference point or the guidebook to get your answers to the questions that are being asked, you would look at that guidebook. It's quite logical, right? Fortunately, God has given us that brain to do that. Rudram is that guidebook. So why not get into it? Why not chant it? Why not learn it? There is a lot to talk about in Rudram. मैंने कहा था कि किसी हर एक मंत्र का एक मीनिंग है, और मैंने यूनिटी की बात किया था, right? So let's talk about the Shiva's aspect, right? He's also called Layakaraka, something that destroys, someone that dissolves everything, right? And Rudra is one aspect of the 8 forms of Shiva. But Shiva को लयकारक कहा गया है, somebody who destroys, as we have, I mean, especially for myself, before coming into Swami's fold and reading Swami's literature, it was always a fear factor to be oh my God, Lord Shiva is an angry person, so let me make sure that I pour water on on the lingam, which is, I was thinking it is his head, to keep him cool and calm. How funny and how childish. But that was my understanding. But Lay Karaka, and again this came from my father this morning only. When you say Lay Karaka, going back to the analogy of different tributaries, rivers, and everything merging into that one ocean, the mergence is Laya. It is not destruction. It is being united with that one entity which does not diminish, right? It is getting into that consciousness of supreme unity, which is Laya aspect of it. That is what Laya Karaka means. That is what Shiva means when we say Shiva is Laya Karaka, Shiva is Mangala Karaka, because unity with the whole world, positive unity, the realization that you are one with each and every aspect of this universe is the best thing that we can achieve. And that is why Shiva is also called Mangala Karaka, right? One other aspect, I'll just take one more minute and before I stop. I know it's a lot of time that I took. Mrityunjaya is one word where Swami has given very beautiful knowledge. I couldn't stop myself from bringing it to this particular forum. Swami said Shiva is, we say Mrityunjaya, right? There is a mantra towards the end of first Anuvaka, which is Namaste astu bhagavan vishveshwaraya mahadevaya triambakaya tripurantakaya trikagni kalaya kalagni rudraya neelakantaya mrityunjayaya sarveshwaraya sadashivaya shriman mahadevaya namaha. Right? Each and every word of this particular mantra has a beautiful inner meaning, right? Let's talk about that one word called Mrityunjaya. Does Mrityunjaya mean mastery over death? I think the literal meaning is that only, right? Is it a mastery over death? Which is absolutely impractical, right? We have heard in Puranas so many people, rishis, rakshasas, devas, they did so much, not devas, but yeah, humans, they did so much of penance and asked Brahma for immortality, but it was never granted for the physical body, right? So Mrityunjaya does not mean that not death, right? Let's take a little bit step back. From our thoughts, right? From the intention, our thoughts comes the desire to do something, right? The desire leads to karma. Karma leads to karma phala, and karma phala leads to janma. Right? We are all taking birth. The best thing about our Hindu mythology and culture is the belief in this cycle of birth and death. Right? Makes it so simple. So there is a karma phala, and we are taking birth or janma because there is something that we need to burn or work it out, right? Shiva is also called Kamahari, somebody who burned Kamdev. Now Kama is akin to desire. Shiva reduces the desire, and when we talk about Shivaratri and the importance of Shivaratri, there is a very specific aspect which says the mind is the entity for all the desires or thoughts to come. During Shivaratri night, there is very little or zero influence on the mind, and that makes it much more easier to attain that level of spiritual awareness during Shivaratri. So the mind aspect comes there, but Shiva by itself, in principle, is also called Kamahari, somebody who reduces or completely destroys desires, right? So let's take the same cycle. Zero desires, there is no karma, or let's say no attachment to the karma. So there is no karma phala. So there is no janma beyond that, right? So you have to burn whatever is there, but by propitiating or understanding Shiva, you are reducing all the karma phalas there, and that's where you are not getting more births and that is where Shiva is called Mrityunjaya. Right? It is not. It is not that you are getting mastery over death and your physical body will remain, but it is about that subtle aspect of what is giving us, what is the reason for this birth, and how do we pass through this cycle without getting more births by just detaching ourselves from that karmafala aspect of it, right? Uh, I know it is 9 o'clock. You've been here on a Friday evening. There are a lot of things that we can discuss for each and every word of this Sri Rudram. We just discussed a couple of words, not even mantras. But I will stop here uh, with one small chinna katha, right? Uh, Sorry, Brother Varun. I'll take 1 more minute. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Uh, one chinna katha. And it's a little bit funny. Uh, so Swami has said it in one of his discourses. Uh, there was once a sadhu, right, who had visited a village, and he stayed there for several years, established means taught people of villages the moral codes of conduct, and then after that after several years he moved to a different village and then did a similar thing. And through this journey he had a few disciples, right? So after several years of this particular journey, the sadhu was passed away, and then one of his disciples again visits these villages, right? So in the first village that this disciple goes, he sees that the villagers are just following their own specific approaches to life, uh, without much of a semblance to the teachings that the sadhu had. There was a beautiful statue of the sadhu at the center of that village, and the villagers built a temple around it, and they used to put the diya and agarbatti and everything else in front of sadhu, do namaskars, and then go about their life as usual. So this particular disciple was a little bit perplexed from that purpose. It's such a beautiful temple and everything, respect and all is there, but then it was not showing in practice, right? Then this disciple goes to other village, and there is nothing of that sort. Yeah, they didn't build temples or anything, but this disciple sees that each and every aspect of what these villagers are doing are in accordance, in line with what his guru or the sadhu had preached. Right? The reason why Swami told us this particular Chinnakatha or small story is primarily to understand what is important. Right? Is it important for us to put Swami on a pedestal, put some beautiful altar around him, and say, Swami, you are God, I am human, let it be like that, I am happy, you are happy? Or should it be that we should try to imbibe, right? I think in the Zen principles, one of the principles says that the best way to respect a master is to master his teachings. This is just a question, it is for everyone, each one of us to realize and ask ourselves that question: what are we doing? Are we following the master's teachings, or are we living a more comfortable and cozy life of putting him on a pedestal and keeping him there? On that mixed note, I will stop here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, brother. That's so insightful session on the Vedam as well as the Rudram you have just mentioned. I hope I am audible.
Yeah, Varun, go ahead.
So I'm not that much capable of saying much things, but before moving towards the Q&A, I just wanted to add one thing. Uh, I'm sharing my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Varun, it's
Yeah.
visible.
So
Go ahead.
in one of the discourses, Swami has also mentioned, like as you mentioned regarding the Gayatri mantra. So the Sai Gayatri temple we have in Puttaparthi. So it's the Gayatri mantra also signifies the phases of the Ma Gayatri. The first phase on the very left side, it's a Om. Then the second phase is Om Bhur Bhuva Soha. Then the third phase is Tatsavitur Varenyam, and fourth phase is Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, and the last is Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. It is like Swami has given this mantra which we can ponder upon even after our level of some meditation, so that the Gayatri mantra is the only mantra which Swami has said we can take and visualize after we reach the certain limit of the meditation, because all the other mantras or the Vedas are not considered on that level. So this is the just thing I just wanted to add. So we will open this session for the Q&A, and considering the time also, we would only take 2 or 3 questions. So I would request the esteemed participants also kindly raise your hands if you wish to ask any question over here.
Or they can switch on their camera or video audio also.
या तो सबको भूख लगी है, सब जाने की सोच रहे हैं, या सबको समझ आ गया है?
Yes, that might be the reason.
Sai Ram brother, there is one question that was like regarding the Gayatri Mantra chanting only. You like mentioned when we are chanting and we are not taking that Upadmaniya Sandhi, Dhiyo yo na prachodayat, you insisted not to take nah. Can you please better explain in a better way? Because it's like whenever we are chanting and we have been learning from various sources on internet also. So there and even in Shruti Sheni also we have been taught like to whenever Visarg is followed by a P or P varna, then we usually apply the Upadmaniya Sandhi. So I just wanted to clarify regarding on this matter.
Right. So I think the best source for me has been what Swami has chanted, right? Swami has chanted Gayatri mantra, and like Brother Varun was explaining, he has also spoken about what those different facets of the mantra mean, right? You're right. In pure Sanskrit grammar, yes, Dhiyo Yonaf Prachodayat, right? That's something which comes whenever you have a P towards as the sound for the next word, right? But it is essentially so in my personal understanding, Swami's chant is what I would follow as a reference point, right? There are several other people who are more Sanskrit scholars who have identified with Dhiyo Yonaf Prachodayat. I think it's better to give that specific pause in the middle, so that we are not inadvertently causing the mistake of sounding it as a continuous word, right? It might be from a Sanskrit grammar standpoint that might be appropriate, but I've not heard Swami's chant actually saying it's Dhiyo Yonaf Prachodayat. Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you sir, thank you शिवांग. और किसी का कोई प्रश्न हो तो प्लीज अपना कैमरा ऑन कीजिए और माइक ऑन करके पूछिए.
साई राम. सर आपने कहा ना रुद्रम में 8th अनुवाक इसका एसेंस है रुद्रम का, उसमें भी नमः शिवा मंत्र है, फिर शिवा मंत्र उसका एसेंस है. तो मेरा सवाल ये था कि जब हमें कोई एसेंस चाहिए, जैसे एंटायर वेदा का एसेंस गायत्री मंत्र है, तो फिर हम डिफरेंट वेदा क्यों चैंट करते हैं? मतलब उसमें और इसमें क्या कोई फर्क है? क्या इसमें कोई अंतर है?
हाँ जी, एक मनीष जी, वेरी ब्यूटीफुल क्वेश्चन. The way I want to give an example, an analogy, right? आप आप रेस्टोरेंट में जाते हैं, right? You might want to eat some specific type of food, right? Based on the stage of life that you are in. Let's say if you are a child, you might want to eat something more chatpata. If you are an aged person, you might want to eat something that is more akin to your medical uh, situation and background. So you want an a la carte menu of things, right? When I look at the Vedantas itself, Upanishad specifically, I consider that as, and the different Upanishads that are there, Sanarayana Pashodagya, the Suktams that we have, as an a la carte menu that has been provided to us based on the stage of life that we are in, right? आप मेधा सूक्तम देख लीजिए. Meda Suktam is prescribed for children to be chanted every day to improve their intellect, right? Durga Suktam is something that is more is propitiation for Agni, and then Mother Durga, which is basically the Shakti aspect of the kinetic energy aspect of this whole creation, for giving you the Kriya Shakti aspect of it, right? So when we say Karagre Vaste Lakshmi, Karamadhya Saraswati, Karamule Sute Gauri, we're actually saying, arise my Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti in me as I'm waking up, right? So each and every Upanishad or specific aspect of it is focused, are sounds that are categorized and focused on the giving that specific benefit to us. Okay. So back to your question. So there is an importance associated with each of these specific chants or groupings of these chants. Now, you're absolutely right. Another part to your question is, why should we learn all of these several different Vedas, right? Can I not stick to one? Absolutely, you can. Right? Swami has said that one spoon of cow's milk is better than 100 barrels of donkey milk. I'm not saying. So please keep the donkey milk aside from the analogy standpoint. And Swami has said that you don't need to learn the whole ocean of Veda, right? You don't have to drink up the ocean to understand the taste of it. A spoonful of water or a drop of ocean water will tell you the taste of it. So absolutely, you can learn one of those. But more important is, are you understanding the meaning of what you're chanting when you're doing it? Be it Gayatri Mantra, be it just the Namah Shivaya aspect of it, and is it enabling you to achieve that unity or see the world from that perspective, right? If you're able to achieve it through just by chanting Gayatri Mantra or by chanting Om Namah Shivaya for hours together, and you are able to experience that feeling of universality, absolutely, that is what Swami wants, right? He just wants us to, all of these are different paths, different channels, different tributaries leading to that one massive awareness of unity. So nothing stops from practicing one aspect of it, but more important is, are we understanding it? Are we imbibing it? Are we experiencing it or able to experience it, right? Rudram is important because one definitely is, there is, Swami has started Rudram as a regular chant since 2003, and every day, morning and evening, one specific thing that gets chanted in Prashant Nilayam and several homes from definitely for Sai devotees is the Rudram chant, right? Every day without fail. It is because the positive vibrations that are getting generated from this Rudra mantras are transforming in itself. So internal transformations with physiological effects as well as sending those positive vibrations across the globe. But back to your question, sir, if you find that one mantra or that specific aspect of the chant is something you are more resonating with, absolutely doable, nothing wrong in it.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much, brother Vijaygopal sir. So, considering time, we need to move forward for the next segment. Sorry for not taking more questions right now. Now, I would like to invite the district president of Haryana and Chandigarh, which is Chandigarh district, Shri Anil Prakash Yadav ji, to please address us with the vote of thanks for the brother Vijay Gopal.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Uh, Brother, uh, mm, uh, Brother Gopal ने जिस तरह से इतना ब्यूटीफुली एक्सप्लेन किया सारा कुछ, वाकई बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग लगा। जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं कि भगवान का एक संकल्प रहा है कि उन्होंने वेद पोषणा के सबसे पहले उन्होंने इसी वेद पोषणा को ही रखा है। 4 संकल्प में से जो 4 एस्पेक्ट है उनके, उसमें से सबसे पहले वेद पोषणा को रखा है। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो वेद पोषणा की डायरेक्शन में आज हमने एक ये जो स्टेप लिया है, ये अवश्य ही हम सभी के लिए बहुत ही बेनिफिट कर रहेगा। जिस तरह से ब्रदर विजय गोपाल जी ने बताया कि वेद क्या है, भगवान उसके बारे में किस तरह से बताते हैं कि हर व्यक्ति को ये वेद सीखना चाहिए, उसका मनन करना चाहिए और अपने जीवन में उसको अभ्यास करना चाहिए। और जिस तरह से उन्होंने ये एक्सप्लेन किया, कई चीजें मुझे भी नहीं मालूम थी और पहली बार मालूम हुई। जैसे यजुर्वेद कोर है सारे नॉलेज का, और उसका भी कोर रुद्रम है, रुद्रम का भी कोर 8वां अनुवाक है। शायद ये पहली बार हमें सुनने में आया, और मुझे लगता है कि बाकी सब लोगों के लिए भी इसी तरह की जो नॉलेज है ये बहुत ही लाभदायक रही होगी। हम इनका बहुत ही धन्यवाद करते हैं कि इन्होंने समय निकाला और इस तरह से सबको एक्सप्लेन किया। ये सभी जानते हैं कि कुछ भी कार्य बिना भगवान की इच्छा के नहीं होता। तो ये जो आज ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया है, इसके पीछे भी भगवान की ही इच्छा थी। उन्होंने ही ब्रदर गोपाल को एक माध्यम बनाया, उन्होंने हमारे साथ जोड़ा, और मुझे नहीं मालूम है कि उनके द्वारा आज का जो ये ज्ञान दिया गया है या शेयर किया गया है, इसमें से बहुत सारे लोगों के अंदर एक जिज्ञासा जाग सकती है। और इसी तरह के अगर सेशन और भी होते रहे तो मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ही अच्छा रहेगा, और इस डायरेक्शन में हम अपनी स्पिरिचुअल ग्रोथ एलिवेशन कर पाए। सभी ऑर्गेनाइजर्स का भी मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ। हमारे जितने स्टेट कोऑर्डिनेटर्स हैं उनका भी धन्यवाद है। ब्रदर साई कृष्णा का खास तौर पे वो अथक प्रयास करते रहते हैं सबको जोड़ने का, और कुछ ना कुछ लगन के साथ काम करते रहते हैं। भगवान उन्हें और भी शक्ति दे, इसी तरह से वो और भी प्रयास करते रहे और हम सब उसमें उनका साथ दे सके। बहुत ही इंफॉर्मेटिव इंफॉर्मेशन थी, और मेरा इनसे एक बार विजय गोपाल ब्रदर से निवेदन है कि वो फिर से समय निकालें और इसी तरह के सेशंस और भी आगे लेते रहें। मेरा एक प्रश्न था, मैं अभी नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ, नेक्स्ट सेशन के लिए छोड़ दिया। इतनी बार नमकम में इतनी बार नमक क्यों बोला जाता है और चमकम में इतनी बार चम क्यों बोला जाता है, इसका उत्तर हम अगले सेशन में बोलेंगे। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आभार। सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का भी बहुत बहुत
Thank you so much, Anand sir.
So, Sairam to all, and thanks to Swami and thanks to Brother Vijaygopal, and especially Dr. Ravi also, Dr. Ravi Mohan जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं. Thanks to Dr. Vijaygopal's parents also, those who are joining with us, and our organizing team. जिसमें वरुण है, Brother Shivang is there, and Dr. Satyakam and team is there, and especially all the office bearers and the state president, district presidents, and state coordinators, and all the devotees and our brothers and sisters. So thanks to all, and thanks to Swami for this beautiful evening with Brother Vijaygopal. So thanks to him. Jai Sai Ram.
साई
Sai Ram.
थैंक यू। अभी हम शांति मंत्र की ओर बढ़ेंगे और मैं रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगा स्वाति सिस्टर से, प्लीज शांति मंत्र के लिए आएं।
Brother Shivam, kindly play.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्य परिपालयन्ता न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु